before we get started, I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing your child with us. Today was officially day 10, and we feel like we've come really far in 10 days. So thank you so much for trusting us with them, and the sky's the limit. Here's kind of our plan for tonight. We're going to try to keep it close to 6:30, and then you'll have some time at the book fair. 6:30 to 7 it should be open, and hopefully you'll be home with you and your families a little after 7 o'clock. So that being said, as questions come up, you'll see Post-it notes at all tables. Feel free to jot it on a Post-it note, and we've got some kind of boards out if you want to stick them on there on the way out, and we can email you back. Or feel free to just send us an email with the subject Pine Neck questions, and we can kind of compile those and get responses. Like I said, our goal is to kind of get through some common questions that we got from the survey, and then to answer those individual questions individually.
Okay, so if you have a child who has siblings in other grades, you probably have noticed that there's kind of a year-long theme for each grade level. So like kindergartners are we are builders, third graders are we are connectors. So all of our big project-based learning units will be all about connecting. And so we connect with one another, we connect with our community, we connect with our world. Right now we're starting kind of big. We're just getting started on our big clean water unit, which is really all about connecting with the water crisis around the world and third world countries. So that's kind of where we'll always pull back to, is that we connect with each other and we can make a change and make a difference by connecting with one another.
So when we asked kind of some common questions, homework was one of the biggest ones. What is homework for a third grader at Epic? So kind of there are two categories for this. Category number one, we need all kids to do something to prepare probably for the next day. We promised to keep this minimal, and we would certainly let the kids know, and that would be posted on our website. There's a homework tab, and they know how to get there. It would probably look something like this. Tomorrow we're going to learn about the water cycle, for example. Tonight we want you to watch this short little clip, take one note that you found, and come back ready to share. So it'll be that flipped learning that we talked about, where they're doing learning at home and practice here at school. That won't be like every night or anything like that, and they will certainly know if they have that flipped homework. It'll always be posted by 4:30 at the very latest if we had something for them to do.
Sometimes it's not until the end of the day that we kind of, realize this is what we need for them. And it's basically like a blog post, so it will, like the latest will always be at the top, and you'll always be able to view every homework assignment. They won't disappear or anything.
So kind of our second category of homework goes with our vision, which is that we want it to be meaningful for your child. And I put a quote about research and homework that says, researchers are kind of out as to whether homework is truly a really good instructional technique. And so when we're thinking about homework, we're trying really hard to not give every kid the same piece, needed or not. It's just, it's taking a minute to build their personal homework for them. So our vision is, as we get to know their data and get to know what they need work on, to create a plan for each student as to what their homework will be. And we will absolutely, very clearly communicate that with you as it comes. Does that kind of make sense? Am I explaining that well enough? So like, if we notice your child needs some help with math facts and a certain phonics rule, we'll push that homework out to just your child instead of every single kid working on math facts, needed or not. So it will come, it'll come personalized, and it'll come clearly to you and be reasonable.
It just might be a couple weeks.
Collecting data is just...
But it'll be worth it.
It will be good.
Hang in there with us.
I have a question. So the emails that you send to the students, I mean, we got one at 9:30 which was fine, but I freaked out thinking maybe it came earlier, and oh my gosh, but do they know they're supposed to check their email every night?
Yes, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
One of our guides, yes.
All right.
So kind of coupled with that homework is reading at home. So here are some things that we'll never say no to. Reading at home, if they go on My On, it's basically their own personal library. They create rated books that they're interested in reading. They took an initial placement test, and it gave them hundreds of books that fit their interest and fit their ability. So they are welcome to read on that anytime. RAS kids they'll get soon, which will kind of be the same thing. They'll have an initial placement, and it's just tons of books at their level. And then Fallen Shelf and Overdrive are a little bit more like mid-continent library books that you would just check out, and those are coming soon too. So of course, we'll continue to communicate, but these, especially this one, which is already completely up and running and they're very fluent in it, are always good at home. Here's our vision for reading logs. As we get blogging up and going, which is, again, just taking a minute to get all of our resources going fluently in here, our plan is to have the reading log, if you will, expectation to be read something of substance every week and respond online. And that might seem really vague, but I think we're trying to find that balance of expecting them to become lifelong readers and not squashing that love for reading. So here's our plan, is to say something of substance, and we'll give them lots of ideas as to what something of substance means. And then respond online, and we will give them lots and lots of ideas as to what a good response online would be. And then as you guys get fluent in the digital volunteers and how to respond, that might be a good spot to volunteer to respond back to their reading. Some questions or some next ideas and thoughts. So does that kind of make sense? Once their blogging gets up and going, that will be the expectation as far as reading logs go. But we're gonna try our best to stay away from 20 minutes every night or 100 pages a week, because we want it to be that love of reading that we're flourishing.
And if your child, in the personalization part of that homework, your child might have something where it is they need to read 20 minutes every night from the recommended tab in MyOn. It just kind of depends where your child is and what your child needs. But I know, like, as a parent last year, I mean, my kid reads at night all the time, and I don't think we ever filled the reading log out once because I'm busy. And, you know, so we just wanted to try to think outside of the box on the traditional reading log. I always heard more from parents that it was just like trying to put teeth, you know, to like read your 15 minutes and write it down, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So, and like, please know all of this is just, we are open for, we want and need your feedback. I mean, we're trying a lot of things, you know, not too far outside of the box so that we can still obviously get the job done, but we really do look for your guys' feedback. So shoot us an email or tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly, because if we don't hear it from you guys, we just have our viewpoint.
And I guess note too that as this stuff comes out, we will probably overly communicate it, not underly communicate it.
You guys are used to
I feel like a couple parents are maybe have thought that they got left behind, but we will definitely over communicate those things as they become part of our system.
Okay, so in the past, your child may or hopefully had like a data binder where they would bring it home every so often, and you know, you can flip through and look at how they're doing. Is that just by show of hands, because you come from 10 different buildings? Did your kid have, okay. So here at Epic, we have the same thing, it's just online. So each child has their own Google website, and it is what we're calling their e-portfolio, which is their reality. They can absolutely start building their portfolio now. In their day and age, in this day and age, when you apply for a job, it's an e-portfolio, right? And no longer the traditional paper copies. So there's basically 3 types of portfolios. There's like just the hard data, which as a parent, I'm very interested. I want to see like, how's my kid doing on MathFacts? How is my child doing on this standard? So this is one type, and you'll see it. I'm going to show you an example of the students if you haven't seen it yet. Another type of portfolio is just the learning portfolio. And so Ms. Bennett talked about blog. Each child will have their own blog, and that will just almost run as like a record of their learning and their activities and what they're doing in class. We'll have writing, it'll have video, pictures, that kind of thing. And then the other type is just a showcase. So this might be where at the end of every quarter, definitely at the end of the year, kids have some choice into, you know what, I think this was my best, and I think this was my best, and I think they'll build that kind of showcase along the way of their best work. So, let me show you what one looks like real quick. All of the portfolios are linked. Your child who spent a lot of time trying to just get their iPad set up. So on their iPad, on that main toolbar on the bottom, they should all have a link to their e-portfolio, so they can just click and it'll take them straight to their portfolio. So each child's portfolio, basically I just made it and then copied it, and they'll have a chance to personalize it and do a few things like that. They will be the ones that edit and go through the process. So when you, on the front page, you'll notice that we're going to make little videos where they're going to welcome you to their website or welcome people to their site, like this is what my site's about. Classroom calendar, we're really, really trying hard to get your kiddos that got that iPad to have them be self-sufficient. I know that I get it, Mom, what do I have tomorrow for specials? Mom, what do I have for this? Check it, it's right there for you. So everyone has the calendar on the front page as well as their special schedule. And then here's the first one, which is my data. And you'll notice we've kind of tried to chunk it into different sections. So their personalization time, that data, their math data, their reading data, spelling data, and so on. So basically what will happen is this will link to a page and it will have an embedded doc that will just show the goal, the learning standard, and how they're doing along the way. Our goal is to meet with your child at a minimum of once every 2 weeks. And so basically what that will look like is we have built-in time where I'll be up here, Don will be back there, and we'll pull a few kids a day, and we'll basically do data team meetings with your child one-on-one individually. So we've got 15 MacBooks, so we'll have the MacBooks out, and your child, and we'll kind of guide that with them, but they will enter their data. We will then send you an email, let your child be a part of that, but as soon as we're done meeting with them, they're gonna shoot you an email that says, hey, I just updated my data, so that you are aware of it and think to go to it. And then you can just kind of, that evening have that discussion with them at home about it and so on. So, go ahead. No.
This page is private except to us and the parent that it pertains to. So you will only be able to look at your child's data. And then another thing I was thinking as you said that is we will certainly be meeting with them more often to learn, like as part of their reading groups and that sort of stuff. But our plan is a minimum of once every 2 weeks to come over and say, let's look at your data. Are you making progress? Are you meeting those goals? What are your next goals, if that makes sense?
Any questions on that?
Good.
Our goal is hopefully to help you feel more in tune with where your child is than in real time. I'm not sure how often data miners came home in the past, but that's our goal for this. And then of course, this is where their blog will be on the My Learning tab, and then their showcase tab. Any questions about portfolios?
Is there a login for that? If we're unable to see our own child, is there a login?
You'll have to be logged, like your child will have to be logged into their account for them to view it, for you to view it. Good question. Because depending on how we do it, if we set these like as page level permissions, then like if you were to go to Jackson's, you wouldn't even see, like this page wouldn't even be there. Just myself and under his login, you would be able to see it. Okay. Does that make sense?
And at this point, I think every third grader pretty well knows their user ID and LPS password. Like, I'm not really seeing them ever have to reference the hard numbers anymore. They got it memorized. So that's become pretty fluent as far as logging in.
And down at the bottom, and we'll go over this with the kids because we basically have just had time to say, hey, you've got one. But we haven't really had time to talk about the details of it. So we will show them how to like sign in if they're not signed in and go through that process.
And is there stuff there now? Should we be looking at these now, or this
No, these are just the framework of we're set up. they going to be doing this, or are they just going to be like coming and, you know, some people, they just come and do whatever they want to do. No, we are still absolutely 110% held accountable, and our job is to make sure that your students master and are proficient with the essential standards just like any other third grade LPS student. That is our number one job. The grading system is the same. I think everyone used the same last year, so that 3 is proficient, and then you have above and the other scoring. The report cards will be the same, standards are the same. What is different for some of them is the approach. So the instructional design and the way we go about the learning is probably going to look a little bit different than they're used to, as well as the assessment. So I think in the past, some of our kids are really used to just a lot of paper pencil tests, but we know that children can show their learning and show their understanding in many, many other ways. And so EPIC is a school of creativity. So yes, there will be times that they have paper pencil tests, absolutely. But there will also be times that we are assessing your children and giving them some choice and letting them kind of be creative in that. Questions about reporting, grade cards?
Last year I had a 3rd grader who had the numbers as well as a letter grade. Is that the same? Or were we going straight to?
You know,
I mean, they looked
Yeah.
at that, and so I'm like, I know that that's different in 3rd grade.
so I guess, did they have that in 2nd grade? No, they didn't.
Just, I had a 3rd grader last year.
Okay, so yeah, we're hoping that that's gone now.
Okay. I didn't know if that was
But
a
it
district
is-
thing or what it
It
was.
is possible, if they haven't taken that away yet. What she's saying is in 3rd grade, they used to traditionally give like an overall grade. So you'd have like the standards, you'd have a 3, a 4, a 2.5, but then we were still required to enter like reading, overall grade, B. That is going away, but I'm not sure if it will be there or not. Yeah. Any other questions about standards or anything?
Okay. So, kind of going along with grades, traditionally there would be a conference in the fall and a conference in the spring. At EPIC, we plan to have exhibition night, and this is really going to be about celebration. So, especially right now, we're really working on clean water and the call for action and what can you do to teach others and to make a change. So 3 times a year we will have exhibition night. I guess the best visual is almost like a science fair, if you could picture that, but more celebration. And so it'll be a big culminating activity, a big culmination of what they've been learning. That being said, we are really, I would like to think, pretty reasonable, flexible people. And if you feel like I really need to talk to my teachers and I need to not only see it in their e-portfolio, but I just need to hear from them how things are going and get some confirmation or some insight, we are happy to do that individually as you feel like you guys need them. We just won't send out a flyer that says pick a 15-minute slot, 5 to 9, need it or not, if that makes sense. So the plan is to do 3 exhibition nights, highlight their learning, e-portfolios where you can see those hard numbers and their blogs about their learning, and then any conferences, we've already got a couple set up just this week.
Yeah, and please know that not only can you contact us for that, but we will contact you. So if we have a behavior concern, an academic concern, that's coming here pretty soon. We've about got all of our data collection finalized and laid out to try to get like a real picture of each child. So we'll definitely contact you. We'll definitely get together, let you know what we're doing here at school, what you can do at home. So we'll keep that communication open. Questions about that? Okay, volunteering. First of all, awesome responses. Like, you guys are amazing. We have so many volunteers, but again, hold on for just a little bit longer. We are trying to get that structure set up, and then we will put out a sign up that basically we'll have slots of time where if you want to come in and work with kids, we'll have that. So that's coming. Just hold on a little bit longer. Digital volunteers. You know I'm going to call you out, Tracy. Tracy, give a wave. Tracy is the district tech coach. Her son is Braden. And so we are lucky to have her as a parent too. But
They say that, but you know, that just means more work for their part.
no. She is awesome. So she's really heading up this, shall I say, almost, I don't know the word national, but
Yeah, it's
there's
been a
some,
lot of- these guys are gonna get focused on, through many different avenues. We've got a couple people working on with, through Canada, well, they live in Canada, but, some national speakers who are really interested in this process. So these guys are gonna be our highlight. And so it's gonna really up the ante. So hopefully you all will wanna be digital volunteers as well, and then we'll help. It changes the way you think about feedback, who gives the feedback and how the feedback's given, and it really provides the kids an opportunity to have an authentic audience. And we're really excited about it. So you'll be getting a lot more information about that. But these guys are gonna be heading up, and it's gonna be fantastic.
Tracy's gonna be doing the work behind the scenes.
She's smiling.
Don't let her fool you. Okay, so the hour tracker has anybody heard of the hour tracker that you're signing up for? Okay. One per family. So if you have 3 kids that go to Epic, you're just gonna do this one time. Basically what it is it is the way that you will track your 10 hours for your family for the year. So if you haven't done it yet, here's the best advice I can give you. When in doubt, go to our website. Underneath the volunteer over here for community, under volunteer, all of the information you need is right here. This tutorial, watch it because, I'm sorry, it's not a video tutorial, but read through it because you have to use, or it will not work, you have to use the email that you registered when you put your child in for the enrollment for Epic. Okay? So that's there and it will walk you through that process. I did it, it's really easy. Just follow the big red X's. Don't do that. Okay? Trouble here. Questions about volunteering? And I know we have a lot of experts out there, and we've got you, but we haven't forgotten about you either. We will be calling upon you to come in and help us out with lots this year. Okay, so first off, we want to tell you thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have had every iPad returned every day, and every iPad has been charged every day. With 50 kids, that is awesome.
Huge.
I did the pilot last year, and let me tell you, that wasn't the case. And you have no idea how much, well, you can probably wrap your brain around it, how much that helps us and our learning when we don't have those issues. So, thank you. Basically, what we told the kids is we are accountable for your iPad when you're at school hours, and your parents are accountable with you for your iPad at home hours. Even though it's the district's iPad, you are still the parents. At school, there's a few things that we say to them quite a few times. Like we'll say, you have about 10 seconds, and then we'll say screens down. And when we say screens down, we need screens down. So that's something that they might talk about. Also, we'll tell them to swipe clean. So if they have like 3 or 4 apps open, and
Tell them they have to swipe it all the way clean.
and you'll want to do that. They probably know that. You guys probably know it. But at night when they go to charge, have them swipe that clean because it will hold the battery longer. So that way, at any point in time, they know. Honestly, we haven't really had to do it a whole lot, but they do know.
Really ever.
Yeah, that we can come around and we can always just quickly say, show me, or we can double click and see what apps they have open. Because we know that they have stuff from home on there, which is great, and we absolutely want that, but we also want to make sure that they're utilizing it in school for school purposes. So we have a few little tricks up our sleeve on how we do that. That's why we don't have passcodes at school. Because then that makes it really hard. So they can shut us out.
And although we showed them the double click and we kind of checked in with them, honestly, out of 50 kids in 10 days, there's not been a time where they weren't on what we asked them to be on. So, I mean, big kudos, I feel like, to you guys too for helping reinforce that it's a learning tool. Because I can't think of a time that I double clicked and it wasn't what it was supposed to be, which is pretty cool when you think about how tempting that could be.
And we have had to, I have had to slide my child. We set screens down, I'm walking around, he didn't have a screen down, I had to go and slide it, he starts crying, I keep teaching. And all is well, because guess what? It hasn't been an issue again. Speaking of at-home ideas, just to throw out a few, because that's something we kind of heard a little bit about. We have a charging station in our house. I don't know about you, but we have like way too many electronics, and it's like crazy. So we have a charging station in our kitchen where we have like basically a big old extension cord, or a not extension cord. Thank you. Sure. You're the parent. Set the screen. Set your screen time rules at home. Do what you need to do at home to take care of how you feel. What's appropriate for your child. At school, we tell them you must always have our permission. You are to never, ever, ever download an app without our permission. And quite honestly, probably at school there will never be a time that they'll need to download an app without us saying. So what that looks like for us now, which is really awesome and has worked really well, is part of their morning work. If there's any apps we need them to download, we put that on our morning work tab, and we put the direct links, and they just download a couple apps in the morning that we might need for that day. So, knock on wood, it's been going well. We encourage you at home, like Jackson and Kate, you don't download an app without permission from home. But again, that's totally up to you and your family.
As far as saying yes or no, we do tell them they have to ask your permission to download. So if anything's on the iPad, it should be because Ms. Bennett and Ms. Conrad said or you said.
And again, we've talked to kids about, most of them do have like a home folder. So if you want them to have games or whatever, we just encourage you to just have them put that in that home folder. And that way we can easily say, that's maybe for a rainy day, or when it's really hot out and we have a little indoor recess. That's kind of a special little treat where they can get in there. If you don't know about disabling in-app purchases, see me, I had a $400 charge. Most of you don't have to worry about it because you probably set up your child's Apple ID without a credit card. So if you don't have a credit card on there, you don't have to worry about it. If you do, we can show you after how to disable in-app purchases. In our home, we have a location for screen time. That's just up to you and your family. Do you get what we're trying to say to you? We can control it here at school. It is your thing at home, like it would be with anything else. Any ideas or things that you would want to share out, or questions that you have about challenges that you've had with iPads or apps at home?
That well. Good.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
We had our daughter insist that she needed to read up until the very moment that she went up to bed. Because it was an assignment to read a book.
Right.
And we said, no, we got to go analog after 7:30, so 8 o'clock.
Sure.
So that was at least 3 nights worth of thoughts before bed.
That may have been my problem too. They got like to where they were like begging, like,
Yeah.
what is our homework? What is our homework? Can we do homework? What a great problem, right? So my response was, I'll never say you can't read at home. You can read at home. Or I'll never say you can't work on coding at home. You can work on coding. So I'm sorry if that wasn't clear. I meant for it to be an optional. Of course you can work at home.
When she asked, someone in the carpool ride, oh no, I don't get to read it. I have to stop reading at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're the bad parents.
Oh gosh. No. Sorry. Anything that's like clear, like mandatory things, we will absolutely communicate with you. It was just they were begging, so I was telling them, yes, you may. Gmail? So your child also has a Gmail account, and I don't know, do you have the icon on your iPad? It looks like this. It's got an M on it. So here are some things to know about their Gmail account. This is not a private email account. At any time you would like to, in fact, we highly encourage it, feel free to open it up. They really should probably only have a message from Ms. Conrad or I, maybe from Google Docs that we've shared with them.
Which, can I interrupt? I think it's what happened, whoever mentioned something about like the late night email. So we set up an account Google Classroom has this awesome thing. So of course we were working till, whatever time of the night when you have time to work. And discovered that when I went in and made an assignment for your child, it sent an email to your child. So know that some of the accounts are just set up to automatically email, so not every email is going to be like some big, important, urgent thing. It might just be a doc was shared with you or something like that. So if it's homework and they need to know about it and check it, it's going to be on the homework tab. We will do our best to get work done before 10 and 11, but again, a good reason to like charge it far away from the bedroom so that your kid doesn't like wake up. Because I had one wake up at like 6:30 in the morning. She emailed me back. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I just got this. I just woke up." It's okay.
Right. And I know, like, just kind of getting their email set up, we sent them an email saying, you can go ahead and download this app if you want to. But it was really their morning work for the next morning. It was just to kind of let them open up something and read something of meaning. Our big rules or expectations for Gmail, there's no sending emails during the day without our permission. So what it might look like is if we're reading and learning about water and they want to consult an expert on water conservation and we have a guy that they can contact, we're trying to get them to be self-learners and your student and us may send that email. But during school hours, you should never receive an email. You'll go ahead and contact us, just like you always would. You wouldn't want to email your child during school hours, and they would not email you during school hours about anything.
Which I will say, my husband emailed today and said, "Hey, tell Jack to email me."
What?
And I said, "I would love that, but no." Like, so he, like, and as a parent too, I'm thinking, I mean, how cool, like I could just check in, like, "Hey, love you, hope you're having a good day." But we just asked you to put that little note in the lunchbox because we do not want to get back and forth with that, and really it's not even our deal. It is it's laid out by the district. It's district-wide. So always send us an email or send your emails to the office or whatever to correspond with anything
changes or something
for
like
that.
that. So that's kind of our expectation number 2. Email is only for learning. So we gave the example that they might at night send an email that says, "Can you tell me how to get to this thing?" or whatever it is. A learning email is fine. They will not email each other and say, "Do you want to come over Friday night for a slumber party?" So it has to be school related and they have to have permission. Like I said, anytime you want, feel free to open that up. Yes.
So Allison was very excited to get this email, especially because we have grandparents that live out of town. And Gary's mother would like to email her socially, just, nothing probably very elaborate, nothing more than a couple of sentences, but is that okay for her to respond then outside of school
I think
hours?
outside of school hours, I'm looking at Tracy because she's.
If not,
I know
that's fine.
it's a
but
great question,
I'll
yeah.
just make sure
Let's
that.
get some clarification, because I'm
Okay.
not sure what they would say in terms of on the district standpoint of it.
Okay.
And mostly it's just because they want to keep the kids safe
Okay.
and not get them used to being distracted at school. But I think that if we ask the director of LMC, I think she would say no, but I'll get that confirmation and we'll have you guys send it out.
And one
Okay.
thing my sister did was she just set up a separate one for my niece. That really she used her Apple ID, and then she's always receiving my niece's emails and that kind of thing, so she can really monitor it. So now that she's kind of got the idea of it, a personal one wouldn't be a bad idea. I try to think of it just like my work. Like, would I send this at work? My work emails for work, kind of the same idea. Their work email is for work.
So now your third grader might have a work email and a personal email.
So
Everyone thought.
we kind of got the question, like, should they check it every night? Again, we'd like to think we're pretty reasonable people. Our hope is that they might kind of keep up with it and that they're, not waiting days and days to see if they have an email. But we don't want them to go to football practice and feel like they have to have it with them or whatever it is. So we're never going to send something to their personal email that, like, oh my goodness, if they don't see this tomorrow morning, it's not going to be okay. Does that make sense? We're just doing our best to get them to be self-independent learners. I would recommend that probably sometime throughout the night they just check. It's real easy, no password, just click the button and it comes up and then click off of it. But like I said, they don't need to take it to football practice to make sure they're keeping up with it. We're pretty reasonable.
And it should have a push to it. So, like, if they are 3 emails, like, the little red will come up and it'll say 3, so they know they have 3 emails in Questions on email? Yes.
Can you access, can other students access their email? Because my husband's a teacher in the district, and my son has the same initials as him, and he's gotten a few emails
No.
already
Well,
from like students and another teacher, and they.
because they accidentally typed in the wrong thing.
I would not.
I mean, they have
how
a,
else they would get his email.
that's, you know how your child has like the JCON 4683, you know, they have a very specific, secure email account. So we haven't gone through the process with them yet of how to send an email to someone. But when they start typing that in, it is possible, I mean, it gives them a list. So it's going to bring up, so if they accidentally click something, it could send to the wrong person.
And we do have some, if you ever have a worry, just address that with us personally, because we do have lots of ways to pull all kinds of records too.
Find anything, and we tell the kids.
So some housekeeping things, snacks. Starting tomorrow, you are welcome to send snacks if you want with your child. We are a peanut-free classroom, so kind of keep that in mind with the labels, if you would, peanuts free. Our plan is we go outside about 1 to 1:30 every afternoon. So our plan is to have a quick little snack, come down, brain break after that. Water bottles are highly encouraged as well. It's really nice when they can stay in the classroom and not need to leave to get that. We do ask that they have pretty secure lids, just given that their electronics basically out all of the time. So if they shut, that would be optimal. And so what a great problem that we have is we have kids coming all the time and say, look what I worked on at home. Can I please share this? And we're also trying really hard to build a community with 50 children. So we are going to have Share Day. It's kind of the last Thursday of the month, and it is on the website, on the calendar that comes up, and the kids know how to get there too. Basically, Thursday, the last Thursday, they're welcome to share something that they created electronically. So if they worked on some iMovie or something like that, or something that would fit in their backpack. So if they have a trophy or something they did in art or something like that that they would like to share, we're hoping to kind of get to view them all at once, if you will, and pay attention all at once. Share Day. So nothing to lose any sleep about, but our way of letting them, I don't know, share their creativity in a meaningful way.
Communication. So obviously we have Twitter and we have a blog that's going to get started. Lots and email and all of this good stuff. So I'm going to pull up the website. I know you guys, I'm sure know this well, the ever-changing website. But it really truly is our goal for our sanity and your sanity to just have this one-stop hub. So if you are not on Twitter and you don't want to be on Twitter, or you don't want to get the tweets to your phone, perfectly fine. It is all on our homepage. So you can still keep up with the tweets. The purpose of the tweets, and we're trying to still find the time because really the day, I mean, there's not sitting down or anything, the day goes. But we're trying to get better about tweeting more in real time to kind of let you know what's going on throughout the day. But again, you don't have to be on Twitter if you want to just follow here. Obviously the calendar is here, homework. If you click on the blog, it will take you to like an external site. That's just because I can't figure out how to embed it. But you can just navigate right back here. The blog will eventually kind of be run, or your kids will be a part of creating that, as well as Twitter. The blog is basically a different approach to the typical traditional classroom newsletter. So the blog is where we'll have some information about what standards we're teaching, what's going in our units, and that kind of thing. If you are so interested, and you're like me, and you don't check everything all the time, you can just enter your email address here, and when we make a blog post, you'll get an email at the end of the day. Questions about communication, websites? I know we like bombarded you guys this summer. It was new to us. We never knew who our kids were going to be or who our families were going to be before, a couple weeks before school. So thought we'd get you acclimated.
So, if this wasn't enough information for you, if you have a incoming kindergartner, I know you're thinking ahead, these sheets are for you to take and fill out if you would like your incoming kindergartner next year in the athletic attendance lottery. Just throwing that out there for you. If you don't have an
Put those
incoming
right here.
kindergartner, don't worry about it.
Anybody?
And that is all we sort of formally have for you tonight. We do want to thank you again so much for sharing your child with us. Like I said, in 10 days, we've come a really long ways. We were trying to find that balance of like collecting data on them and teaching them new systems and making it creative and fun like we promised. And we feel like every day we're getting better at that. We like to think we're pretty reasonable, and so whenever you have questions, comments, concerns, any sort of feedback, please let us know, and we're happy to answer any questions and